Otro escolástico,
Another scholastic, another brilliant mind from this period, was Martín de Azpilcueta. Martín de Azpilcueta was a relative, a second cousin, of Saint Francis Xavier, and was born in Navarre. He is also known as Dr. Navarro. He wrote Comentario Resolutorio de Cambios, resolutory commentary on exchanges, and Manual de Confesores y Penitentes, manual for confessors and penitents. Such confessors' manuals are curious. They explain the different sins and circumstances, and priests had to study them so that they could hear confessions, recognize the types of sin, and know what penance to assign, etc. Without a doubt, the detailed explanations Dr. Navarro offers of the possible sins related to commercial activity contain true analyses of very profound economic theory. Azpilcueta is also well known in connection with the quantity theory of money. We owe the first formulation of this theory to Nicholas Copernicus, who, if I remember correctly, put it forward in a book titled De Monetae Cudendi Ratio. The quantity theory of money is a clumsy theory which explains that when the quantity of money increases, other things being equal, its purchasing power decreases. That is, prices rise. As we will see, this theory contains a grain of truth, but it conceals what is most important, namely that, though prices rise, they do so in different proportions. In other words, the key is not the increase in the general price level, but the revolution in relative prices. The fact that money is injected in different places, and this distorts the real economy. We will see that this is true, but Azpilcueta was able to formulate the quantity theory of money in much greater detail, because he was an eyewitness to the enormous impact exerted by the massive influx of precious metals into the Spain of his time. As for the banking business, Azpilcueta was the scholastic who drew the clearest distinction between two radically different contracts. He called the first the contract of banking for safekeeping, in which the banker is guardian, depository, and guarantor of the money. Azpilcueta views this contract as legitimate, just and blessed. Also, he states that the banker should be paid for the effort it takes to safeguard, like a good paterfamilias, the money given to him for safekeeping. His fee would also cover accounting services and payments made on the depositor's behalf, etc. Azpilcueta very clearly distinguishes this from the second contract, that of the loan. Martín de Azpilcueta concludes that depositors must pay the depository banker, and never the other way around. For if the banker pays the depositor, that is irrefutable proof that the banker is appropriating part of the deposit. Dr. Navarro writes, "In this sort of exchange, not only the money changers sin, but also those who entrust their money to them for safekeeping, as above, because they know that when they receive interest, they are, as Luis Saravia de la Calle put it, turning over a virgin to a lecher." This is especially true when these depositors later refuse to pay a fee, claiming the profits earned with their money and received from those they pay in cash is enough of a wage. And if the money changers request a fee, the customers leave them and take their business elsewhere. So, to keep these clients, the bankers renounce their fee, and instead take money from those who owe them nothing. Ah, so I have to pay you to safeguard my money? Forget it. I'll take my money to another banker, Francisquin, who not only will not charge me anything, but will actually pay me interest. Well then, you are committing a mortal sin, and you are going to hell. That is quite an in-depth analysis. Of course, the dungeons of hell must be full of bankers and customers. Another important scholastic was Tomás de Mercado. What a great name, de Mercado. He wrote Summa de Tratos y Contratos, which was published in Seville in 1571. His analysis is very similar to the one we have just discussed, but he writes with lots of irony. Note with what irony he tells us that bankers in Seville are so generous. They're practically the little sisters of the poor, Mother Teresa of Calcutta. They're a model of generosity. They are so generous that they charge nothing for safeguarding deposits. Those of this city, it is true, are so regal and noble, they ask for and take no wage. Ha! Do you know why they asked for no wage for safeguarding money? Because, as I commented before, and as Ramon Carande shows in his studies, they were appropriating the depositors' money. Tomás de Mercado also writes that bankers must understand that the money is not theirs, but belongs to others, and it is not fair that by using it they cease to serve its owner. The money belongs to the depositor, and bankers must keep the full tantundum. Now, he recognizes that no banker in Seville was doing that, and in the face of that de facto situation, he does not know how to respond. And finally, he arrives at the conclusion that bankers should obey two essential principles. First, they should not strip the bank so bare they cannot then cover the drafts they receive. And second, they should not become involved in risky business deals, for they sin even if the deal turns out successfully, because the bankers chance not being able to fulfill their responsibilities and doing serious harm to those who have trusted them. No banker followed these recommendations, but even if they had, and here is where Tomás de Mercado goes wrong, the mere act of appropriating part of the tantundum for a business deal, even a secure one, constitutes the crime of misappropriation. So we should understand Tomás de Mercado's observation more as an acknowledgement of a widespread de facto situation in which no banker in Seville was maintaining a 100% reserve ratio. Among other reasons, because the emperor was constantly showing up and taking everything, like I mentioned before. Tomás de Mercado says, well, my children, seeing as you are entering into business deals, at least make sure they are not risky.